and welcome to a very special Christmas episode of Killer Creation. In this series, I create a killer and a survivor for the asymmetrical horror survival game, Dead by Daylight. As a special holiday gift to you all, and as part of my pledge to catch up on my Killer Creation videos, I'm giving you this episode on Christmas Day to enjoy. Thanks to all of my followers on Twitter, the Dead by Daylight furry and horror aminos, and all of you who have subscribed to the channel this year. You've all encouraged and helped me make this channel into something special. Without further ado, let's take a look at this episode's killer, The Punishment. In every version of reality where there is an Earth, there is a Santa. And with all the hope, joy, and rewards for positive behavior that Santa brings to the world, his shadow balances him by bringing dismay, fear, and punishment for poor behavior in the world. Krampus, the anthropomorphic shadow of Santa, was created the moment Bishop Nicholas of Myra was canonized as a saint. The mystical world of myth and mysticism, conjuring the demonic creature forth from the very shadow of the man himself. Each year, as Santa wanders the globe to offer gifts and blessings to the good boys and girls, Krampus sets out on an altogether different mission. Krampus offers pain and fear for most. However, for those who are especially greedy or duplicitous, he will come for their very soul. With each world the entity is visited, it has come to find and appreciate each version of Krampus and the fear it instills in people. Eventually, the entity desired Krampus to enter its realm and promised the shadow a plethora of mortals to punish more than a single night a year. Krampus, desiring the ability to be free of Santa's limitations, eagerly agreed to enter the realm of the entity. And now, with the darkest and purest form of punishment seeking to hunt down the survivors, the entity's realm has become a far darker and crueler place than ever before. Now that we know how the punishment came into the realm of the entity, let's check out his base stats, then jump into his powers. The punishment has a 4.4 meters per second speed, a 28 meter terror radius, and is a tall killer. He's on the slower side, with his small terror radius and tall stature balancing out his base stats. But all of that changes once we look at his power, Judgment. Whenever a survivor misses a skill check, unhooks another survivor while in the punishment's terror radius, is hit by the punishment's basic attack, stuns or blinds the punishment, or completes a generator, they receive a token up to a maximum of 10 tokens. For every token a survivor gains with Judgment, they offer the following effects. 3 tokens causes blindness, 5 tokens adds exhaustion, and 7 tokens adds deep wounds. For every token a survivor has when they are hooked, the entity progresses 1% faster, and it takes 10% longer to unhook them. Survivors lose half their tokens, rounded up, whenever they are unhooked. Survivors who heal other survivors the equivalent of 1 health state lose 1 token. The punishment's second power is False Gifts. The punishment can charge this ability for up to 5 seconds using the Activate Ability button. While charging this ability, the punishment's speed is slowed by 5%. At the end of the charge, the punishment throws a single small wind-up toy 5 meters in a random direction for every second the ability was charged. These toys wander randomly within a 3-meter radius where they landed. If a survivor comes within 2 meters of one of the wind-up toys, it will attach itself to the survivor and slow the survivor's speed by 5% for every 5 seconds the toy remains attached to a maximum of 25%. A survivor can stop and hold the Activate Ability button for 3 seconds to remove the toy. As you can see, the punishment is the embodiment of the frustrations of all killers. Judgment assures that survivors will get tokens and that they will suffer throughout the match. It guarantees some kind of penalty for every survivor and forces them to consider whether or not they can afford to do what they need to do to survive. Hook rescues also become far more important as survivors will have much less time than they normally would. And False Gift gives the punishment a way to hinder survivors by making difficult loops and infinites absolutely no-go zones. Now that we understand the punishment's powers, let's check out what perks he has in his bag of tricks. The punishment's first perk is called Broken Gift. There is no true generosity in this realm, and you are here to prove that there is only greed. Whenever a survivor finds or drops an item, that item is destroyed if not picked up within 30, 20, or 10 seconds. The punishment's second perk is called Hypocrisy. You know that the only reason anyone helps others is out of a sense of future personal gain, and you punish such behavior accordingly. For every 1,500, 1,000, or 500 total points of altruism a survivor gains, they suffer a 0.5% penalty to repair and cleansing speed. The punishment's final perk is called Hex Greed. There is only one thing that drives the survivors, and it is not hope. It is their greed and their desire to benefit from their actions that is their only concern. You will stop this. Whenever a survivor cleanses a totem or searches a chest, they earn a token. For every token a survivor has, they suffer a 0.5, 1, or 2% penalty to cleansing, repairing, searching, and healing speeds. Whenever Hex Greed is cleansed, all survivors lose 1 token each, and survivors can no longer cleanse totems or search chests. And that will do it for the punishment's perks. He definitely brings ways for all killers to get in on the fun of punishing survivors. Broken Gift turns items into use them or lose them commodities, especially when they're found in a chest. Paired with Franklin's Demise, a well-equipped team can quickly find themselves with empty hands and crushed holiday spirits. Hypocrisy turns the table on survivors focusing on altruism, or just helping other survivors out in general. Slower repair and cleansing speeds means survivors may not be so keen to heal or body block as much. Hex Greed is an amazing combination hex to use with any other hex perks. Its ability to slow down survivors' actions forces them to either ignore totems and chests, or risk keeping more dangerous hexes in the game permanently. Overall, I think the punishment's perks are a great thematic fit and would be regularly used at all levels of play. But now that we have the punishment's perks out of the way, let's take a look at this Christmas's survivor, Christina Kringle. Christina was a young woman living out a pretty normal life. She went to community college, worked a part-time job at a toy store, and volunteered at the local homeless shelter about once or twice a week. Whenever she could, she would do her best to bring a little cheer into a person's life by doing simple things like paying for someone's coffee, offering a discount at her job, bringing pizzas to the shelter, or tutoring children. She was a welcome part of her community and was often referred to as Mrs. Claus because of the similarity of her name to Santa's, and her generosity was equal to the mythical old man's as well. On her way home from the shelter on Christmas Eve, she heard a man calling out for some help in an alley. He sounded sick and might need an ambulance. Christina quickly walked into the alley to see if she could be of any assistance. However, no matter how far into the alley she walked, the man's voice never seemed to come any closer. Finally, when she began to feel unsure about the situation, she turned around to leave the alley, only to find that it had been replaced with a foggy void and crackling fire off in the distance. Now that we know how Christina came into the realm of the entity, let's see what perk she's gifting the other survivors with. Christina's first perk is called Sharing is Caring. Sometimes all you have to give isn't the best, but you know that with a little tender care, even old things can be made new for others to find joy in. You may place an item with 80, 60, or 40% of its charges used into an empty chest and close the chest. If another survivor opens that chest, they receive the same item of superior quality with at least one add-on of uncommon quality. Christina's second perk is called Deck the Halls. Sometimes the holidays come with a great deal of adversity. You know that this adversity is best met head-on so that you can pick your spirit up. Whenever you stun the killer with a pallet, your speed increases to 150% for a maximum of 3 seconds. This causes the exhausted status for 60, 50, or 40 seconds. Christina's final perk is called Spreading Good Cheer. Your desire to make the lives of others better is best shown when you take things given to you and give them to others who could use them as well. Whenever you receive an increase in stats from a perk from another survivor, you keep that increase for an additional 10, 20, or 30 seconds longer than normal. If you come within 10 meters of a different survivor that did not provide the increase, you pass on that increase to that survivor for the remaining time you have left on it. And those are all of Christina's perks. I think her set of perks brings a lot of interesting abilities. Sharing is Caring makes it so that survivors can get more use out of an item than normal, but that use has to be passed on to someone else for it to happen. Survive with Friends groups will be able to make good use of this. Deck the Halls encourages selfless and precise gameplay, but gives you great benefits. Not only do you get a pallet stun on a killer, but you get to sprint off super fast while they're recovering from the stun. Spreading Good Cheer is a great way to prolong and pass on buffs. If a single survivor brings leadership, then both survivors can pass it along to others, even with Spreading Good Cheer's time restriction. Any buff is a good buff. That'll do it for Christina's perks and this special Christmas edition of Killer Creation. I hope you all enjoyed my take on Krampus as the punishment, and that you found Christina to be an interesting and worthy addition to the survivors. Thank you all for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel for future content. If you didn't, give it a dislike and let me know why in the comments. I hope you all have a great day, a Merry Christmas, and as always, stay positive.